Hi, I'm Fatima. Welcome back to another episode. I am talking about Costa Rica. I took a solo trip to Costa Rica and it was the perfect setup for 2025. I needed to rest, I needed to recover, I needed to restore. And if you are anything like me and you know and you feel it in your body that it's time to rest, I want you to listen to some of these lessons about self acceptance that I gained by being courageous enough to travel alone to another country. So, why did I go to Costa Rica? Well, when I was 19, I went and I visited the capital and I was there studying for about 5 or 6 months. I knew that I would always go back to Costa Rica, but I didn't know when. Finally, it happened at 35. And for me, it was something that I put on my vision board. I said, I have to go. I have to get back to this place of rich land, high vibration, beautiful weather, amazing people, rich food, and just the slowness and the ease that comes from being in an environment where the country and the people agree with the lifestyle of peace and living, which is completely different from America and the capitalist society. But there in Costa Rica, there is an emphasis on pura vida, which is pure life and peace. I can say if I had to look back, maybe 5 years ago at 30, I was really in a place where I knew the self concepts of self acceptance, self love, self awareness, self trust. I understood those things conceptually and in my mind, but I had not yet enjoyed and really, I had not really mastered the concepts to where they lived in my heart, to where it played out in my life. I understood what it was. I started to read the books. I was doing the acupuncture. I was reading the 5 a.m. club, building new habits, doing the vision boards. Does this sound familiar? Doing all of the things that it says that you do when you say you love yourself, when you're wanting to create a new identity, when you're wanting to develop something new in yourself and get yourself from a stuck place and not repeat past mistakes or patterns. You're wanting to grow, you're interested in personal development. That was the place that I was in. It's the place that I will be in continually throughout this entire life journey. But if I had to think about myself 5 years ago, I knew the concepts mentally, but I did not live and accept the concepts to where they were rich enough to really grasp enough in my heart for me to live it and to recognize it. And so after a period of time, fast forward 5 years later, I was in a job that did not value me. I was in a job where I was doing the work twice as much amount of the work and did not get the recognition in the form of a promotion like I was seeking. I felt used. I felt unworthy at a certain point to really receive the promotion because in trying to get so much from someone else out there, it caused me to feel like I was just not worthy of having it if they didn't give it to me. The need for validation was so tying to me. It was so connected to my identity, and I had no clue. I actually had an idea. We typically know, but I didn't realize how deep it was for me at that time. I would also look at things where I was dating men, and especially in my 20s, and I was working for my worth. I was working for my position in his life as girlfriend. It was interesting that I repelled men that seemed to be healthy and good for me, but they were boring. But instead, I would go after the men or accept the men in my life that seemed like they had a lot going on. And maybe there was a few other women and I got to compete. And when he chose me, then I knew that I got him and that I worked for it. So I earned that relationship. If you're hearing any of this, I'm telling you why the mindset where I was, because if you're hearing any of this and it feels familiar to you, I'm hoping that you're starting to catch the pattern of where I'm going. Validation is what holds you in your confidence, and you are one that is secured on other people saying that you're worthy and worth it. In this entire journey of self acceptance, it's about releasing the need for people pleasing and releasing the need for other people's validation. That's in career, that's in relationships, that's in friendships, and that's in things that you even might do with yourself. One of the stories of my struggle and my survival mechanisms, and when I say survival, I mean we all operate, for the most part, we can operate from our ego selves, which is driven by wanting to protect, wanting to defend, wanting to be right, wanting to do more things that make you feel as though you're validated at the expense of someone else. And then we have another side of us that we can call the light, which has no need for self elevation and promotion, has no need for all of the titles, the money, the things, the likes. It's just pure love. And that exists in everybody. Everybody has light inside of them. But the ego often trains you to think that you need all of these different things, these different titles in order to be okay. And so, being in this space where I was working for my worth in relationships, where I was working at a job that did not respect or value me, I started to learn my story of survival in this very difficult experience called life and complex experience. I started to go into productivity. One of my best tools for survival was doing more. Does that sound familiar? Meaning, when I go home and I say, I'm going to set this time to just rest, I would end up seeing like, oh, I need to go ahead and clean my countertop. I need to go take that trash out. I need to vacuum that carpet. Oh, I need to send that email. Oh, if I need to get some yoga in really quick, let me do some squats on the wall. Oh, let me cook that meal. Let me meal prep. Even though the activities you probably heard are actually things that are healthy for you, they were done from a false sense of self care because it was coming from the motivation of productivity. What I really needed, and what I imagine you might need as well, is just to give yourself permission to simply be and to simply rest without having the dishes done, without having the trash taken out, without having the book read in all of the passages and the journals that you entries that you need to do when you're saying you're going to be consistent. There is a difference in being committed and saying that you're valuing consistency, but doing it from a heart posture where you are exhausted after. You're happy that you did it during it, and it makes you feel good to check it off the list, but it is not sustainable. And that is the difference. I wanted to do the things without being the person. And being in resting was probably the most scariest thing for me because it meant, what if I miss the time? Having the fear of, what if I miss the time? What if I oversleep? What if I stay so rested that I start to bring up emotions from things that I thought I had dealt with, but I really don't want to deal with in this moment, and they catch me? There was also an illusion where you think that the past and experiences from the past, if you start to sit down and just rest, that somehow those memories will overcome and take you, and you will not be able to escape them, and you as a result might feel chronically sad or chronically depressed or chronically stuck. These emotions, and I'm sharing this with you because they're very real, and I'm telling you what I went through and what I was struggling with, so that it feels like this is a space for you to be seen. There is a space for you to come as yourself, and you don't need to put on the mask. You don't need to overwork. You don't need to be productive. You don't need the validation of anyone else. You simply need to just be. You are perfect, whole, and complete as you are. And so as we go to Costa Rica, I told you I'm sharing this because that's a part of my story, and all of these moments have helped to build me up to getting there to Costa Rica. So, most of all, you're not going to just go sometimes just off a whim. There usually are a series of adverse experiences that build up over time that eventually push you to do something different. And that's where this Costa Rica trip came. Although I knew I was always going to return, I didn't know how it would look or when I would go. So if you are a person, especially a woman who is addicted to productivity, and I'm defining productivity as you are always in action, you're always outputting, you're always putting more energy, time, and effort out into the world versus back into yourself. So, clue number one is you are experiencing being unsettled in your body. It's hard for you to sit down, it's hard for you to rest. If you're seeing time pass, as I mentioned to you before, feeling like you failed because you didn't complete the thing that you wanted to complete and honor yourself the way that you said that you wanted to. You are willing to work yourself again to the bone out of commitment and consistency. It's a false sense of value. It's a false sense of doing something because you're not doing it in integrity with your body. Your body is exhausted and actually needs to rest. Overall, you are experiencing these feelings and this burnout, this productivity, this on the go, this unsettledness, and you're starting to experience them more and more and more. And the overwhelming feeling is getting heavier for you. You're getting to the point where you are more irritable, you're maybe picking arguments, or you're less patient. You don't have as much patience for other people and just snapping off, right? You're not taking care of yourself. You're eating more processed foods, even though you know that you want to eat healthier. You know, this stuff out here is junk food, but it just feels better to just quickly get it out of convenience because you don't want to take the time. It's going to take more time to create the healthy meals and the healthy food, but you don't have as much time because there's so many things that you have on your plate for other people and even things for yourself that are false sense of accomplishment. My question is, how far are you willing to be in disservice to yourself and your body before you take a break? What will it cost you energetically and emotionally and financially if you continued to do more work and have your body outperform what it is really meant to? What is the cost of not getting rest and taking a moment? And I'm asking this question because I had to ask this question. It is a hard question and maybe it could feel a bit off-putting. That's not my intention. My intention is to help you see the consequences of not paying attention to your body and to allow you to see the space that is available for you to enter into self-acceptance, and not just self-acceptance, but taking back your time, taking back your freedom, living a fulfilled life. And when you're doing things, you're doing it out of flow because you want to do it, not out of performance, trying to validate yourself for someone else or for a job or for a man or for whoever else. So I can tell you that the experience with Costa Rica, I got to that point and it was very scary. I had feelings of anxiety, doubt, wasn't sure if I made the right decision. Did I do all the research? Am I going to be okay, right? These feelings of safety came up, although I did the research, although I looked at the vaccinations, although I had did all the stuff, but still going by myself out of the country. So here's a couple of things that I had to do. Number one, I had to pray. I had to listen to loving music that helped inspire the adventurous side of me. And I also learned who to tell what to, because there are certain people that when you are really stretching and wanting to do something for yourself and you know who those people are, you cannot tell them because their limiting beliefs will block you. Their fears will block you and begin to magnify the already thoughts that you have in your mind that are not helpful. So tell the people that you know are going to encourage you, uplift you, can make sure that you're safe when you're gone. And if there's something where you want me to talk more about how I prepare for the trip, I'm happy to do that. I stayed in a cabina with my Canadian sister. I did not know her. It was a retreat filled with 18 other women from all over the place, New Zealand, Australia, Canada. I mean, wonderful, wonderful women. And my Kabina, my roommate, was a 60-year-old woman, and I loved her just vibrancy of life. And what this trip really did was, one, it helped to heal my nervous system. It took me out of the fight or flight mode and allowed me to just rest so I can actually feel and heal. And it also started to heal my relationship with women, seeing that we are all connected, and started to really allow me to feel the confidence in myself and the direction of my life and where I was going. I had high vibrational foods every single day, meaning I had avocados. There was no meat, no dairy. I had water, ginger drinks in the morning. I had different type of teas, 3 meals a day. I had an abdominal massage. I did a collective yoni steam. I had ocean walks. It was like 15 or 20 minutes to the ocean. And it was interesting too because I felt this oneness with the bugs. Oneness with the bugs. I was like, normally I would have raided them things. I'd be like, you have crossed the line. You are in my house. You don't need to be here. But I found myself, I saw a spider and I was like, oh no, it was a beetle. And I was like, dang, like that beetle was struggling and on its back, like his little legs doing what it's doing. And I'm like, man, I feels like I am stuck just like that beetle. Let me see if I can help it get back to where it's at. So I didn't touch it, but I used my little slipper to push it out. And I started to notice like my vision, my connection to everything around me and everyone around me started to change. I started to feel connected, and I allowed myself to be seen, and I saw people. I looked them in their face. I wasn't just high buying or just doing a quick glance, making direct eye contact. And they say that your eyes are the gateway to your soul. And so before I had a fear of just being seen, I was too busy to be seen. I got stayed so busy that you really couldn't look at me anyway. But it almost was like running from emotions, running from myself, and not allowing myself to just rest. So these are, again, I'm telling you these different things because I'm hoping that you're identifying with this and you experience some of these things and you can realize that there is hope. You don't have to keep doing that same stuff. A couple of lessons that I got when I was there, as I told you before, taking this trip for myself allowed me to have a deeper level of self-acceptance. It allowed me to cultivate inner peace. It allowed me to be confident in the direction of my life and not look to other people or social media for the answers. And even though I am typically self-directed and guided, I feel like there are at times when I'm not clear about and solid within myself. If I start to see Instagram things or things on YouTube or just other people in the world, I start to compare and have taken what they're doing and compared it to myself, which doesn't do you any good, doesn't do me good, it doesn't do you any good. And so when I say I had built the confidence for the direction of my life, I mean, it got to the point where I gave zero, y'all know what I mean, zero cares about anybody else and what they were doing. It wasn't my business. And in fact, I felt so elevated that I knew and know for a fact that I am on my journey, I am on my path, and I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be. So here's a couple of lessons. I learned 3 of them. You're not responsible for anyone else's experience. Everyone else's experience is their experience. And your people pleasing gets in the way because you enable behavior that needs to be cleared, that needs to be brought up to the surface so that person can see what it is and choose to make a difference, to choose to make a change. What I'm saying is, for example, as much as I love my roommate, she and I had a conversation about this. I've been doing yoga for several years. She was newer to yoga, and we had 7 a.m. yoga workshops every morning. I got up and went to every single one as long as I didn't have anything else planned. Because we were in the same room together, I wanted her to go too because I knew she wanted to go, and I knew the complaints she was saying about her body, going to yoga would help to relieve those. In the past, I would have said, hey, are you coming? I would have gently tapped her, said, hey, I'm going. Do you want to come? And wanting to encourage her to enjoy the experience. because I knew the benefits and I knew she wanted to do it. Learning, what I learned was it is no one else's. You are not responsible for anyone else, and no one else is responsible for you. The more you intervene into somebody's dysfunction or the things that they have, if they want to do something, there is something that is holding them back from actually doing it. And it is up to them in their journey, in their process, in their way to go through whatever it is that they're supposed to get so that they can get the lesson. How many times have you told, especially if you're a mother, an older sister, you told, or you can be a mentor, you told the person 9 million times, don't do this, instead do that, and then they go and do the same thing anyway? Most people, unfortunately, learn by pain, learn through suffering, kind of part of the human experience, and eventually you can get to a part where you're learning only from joy. But majority of us, we learn through pain. And so by stepping in, you are hindering the opportunity and the healing that that person can get, and you are enabling them because you're wanting to feel good. You are wanting to feel good about them doing something that you think will be good for them. It's not about you. It's about them. So take back that energy, take back that time, take back that efforting that you're doing, place it back on yourself. Hold yourself accountable for what it is that you say you want. Hold yourself accountable for feeling your feelings versus avoiding them. Hold yourself accountable for finding out the answers in yourself without seeking it out from other people. That's one lesson that freed me and gave me inner peace. The second lesson is that at its highest, money is a result. It is not an answer to just a problem that you just came up with or something happened out of fear. When you are in a scarcity mindset, you're trying to get money and your bills paid and accepting the jobs and doing all the things from a fear-based perspective. What I realized was that I wasn't even thinking about money outside of I already paid the dues and all the stuff that was owed, and if I did any excursions, etc. But I wasn't thinking about money. I was not thinking about money. And what I realized is that I had a job for 5 years that I continuously was seeking to get the promotion, and they would not promote me. And the moment that I decided to let that job go so that I was in integrity with myself, I was able to get a new job with completely better, substantially better benefits and just employment package in less than 60 days. And yes, I was clear about the money, but I wasn't seeking for it. And opportunities started to land in my lap from who I was being. Money is an energetic currency. It is a result from you deciding that you can be and live in your purpose. You can accept yourself. You don't have to go chase after the bag. You don't have to go have 5, 10, 20 businesses. You don't have to work yourself to the bone to get money. At that point, you are working for money. Money is not working for you. Money works for you when you recognize it is a result of who you are being, when it is a result of how you are allowing yourself to feel good, to enjoy good music, good food, good people, good experiences, good community, and you feel good. It's a vibrational, energetic currency, and it is a result. And I realized that I put it into words differently in this video, although I've experienced that before. But money is a result. It is not the answer to a problem. The last lesson that I learned a lot, but I'm just summing this up, is I expanded my consciousness in God. I grew up Baptist in the church and read the Bible, had the chronological Bible, have marked up the small regular Bible. And I realized that I was continuing to learn and have the fear of God, but I was not having the same confidence in myself as I had in God. And it says in His word, love your neighbor as you love yourself. How are you supposed to love someone else if you're not loving and trusting yourself? And that was a big disconnect for me. And when I looked at the church body, they also were loving God, knowing the scriptures, doing the things, paying the tithes. And they wanted to be the people who were feeling better and living these better lives. But it just was a struggle, was a stuckness. It was doing more work out of obligation versus doing it from a filled cup and knowing that your service and your gratitude and your energy is felt by everything that you do. So my expansion of God changed because I started to see myself the way God sees me, and building my level of self trust, building my level of self worth, building my self confidence, building the self acceptance muscle. And that started to elevate and made me more confident to do things like being on this YouTube video, decide to take another solo trip. So it's still a concept that I'm exploring. But one thing that I heard recently is it's okay to explore multiple pathways if it helps you to get to your healing. Religion and Christianity is one of them, but expansion of understanding like the psychology is another one, right? Spirituality is another one. And whatever pathway you need to take that guides you to the light and you feel higher consciousness, you feel more confident in yourself, and you get to feel the presence of God protecting you and guiding you and loving you so deeply. Allow yourself to explore what that might be. So, I want to come to what I'm going to call a slow flow before we wrap up this episode. I hope that this has been great. I hope that you have learned something. I hope that it has helped you to recognize if you are living in productivity and you desire rest and you desire to just allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to be that childlike version, allow yourself to rest. And if you got into the place where you know you need to rest and restore, I hope that this has inspired you to think about what that might be. So I want you to place your hand over your heart and I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to ask yourself inwardly and outwardly, what is one thing that I can do for my body right now? And as you listen to what that might be, it might lead you into saying, I accept rest. I am worthy to rest. Masters, whatever you are dealing with, wherever you are on this self acceptance journey, wherever you are in your transition, wherever you are in your self development and just life and improving yourself, especially in a new year, know that you are divinely guided. You are exactly where you need to be. And you are perfect, whole, and complete as you are. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is accept yourself as you are, where you are, without changing, without judging yourself, criticizing yourself. Just be. If you want me to do any more episodes on self acceptance or want any tips or tricks about self acceptance, if you want to even have a one on one coaching call with me about this, feel free to email me at fatimasvoice@gmail.com. Until next time, see you later. And I hope that you have and live a soulfully aligned life.